So how will you define a compound leaf? A leaf is called a compound leaf when the lamina is completely divided into distinct segments called as leaflets, or also called as the pinnae. And in such leaves, leaflets are distinct and free from one another and joined to the midrib. Now the midrib is called as rachis. So remember, here you will not call this midrib as midrib. Now it is called as a rachis. Remember, rachis otherwise was supposed to be a midrib of an entire leaf or a simple leaf. So how do you distinguish a simple leaf from the compound leaf? The simple leaf will have a main vein in the case of unicostate type, and that main vein is called as midrib. In this compound leaf, you call that main vein as the rachis. If the leaf divides in the pinnate form, then it is called as rachis. Now what happened in the case of palmate shape? So in the case of palmate shape, you will find the leaflets arise from a common point. They all arise from a common point. I will show you the examples. I am carrying some leaves with me to explain this concept also. So when the leaflets seems to be attached to a common point or a common joint, or the tip of the petiole, you can even call it as a tip of the petiole. What is petiole? The stalk of the leaf. So when the leaflets appear to be attached to the tip of the petiole, it is a compound leaf, but it's a type of palmate type of compound leaf. And if the leaflets are attached to the rachis, they are called as pinnate type of compound leaf. So how do you distinguish these two? Here it is unicostate venation which has given rise to pinnate type of compound leaf. Here it is multicostate type of venation which has given rise to the palmate type of compound leaf. Another point you can remember is, in the pinnate leaf, the pinnate compound leaf, the leaflets are attached to the rachis. Here the leaflets are attached to the tip of the petiole. I hope the points are getting clear to you. So now what exactly happens next? Pinnate, it can be pinnate leaf. So in pinnate leaf, the rachis is present. Now rachis will carry pinnae, and it can be unipinnate, or it can be bipinnate, or it can be tripinnate or decompound. Now let's quickly go through this whole concept. Now what exactly happens is, if the axis on which the leaflets are attached is unbranched, so you will call that unbranched axis as rachis, is called as rachis, and the leaflets attached are called as pinnae. Now let me show you an example. This is the leaf of curry patta or curry leaf. So you can easily see this is the rachis. This was a leaf. Try to understand in the same manner. A leaf has undergone, during the course of evolution, leaf has undergone a modification. So this leaf has modified in such a manner that the margins have come to the midrib. So now midrib is now called as the rachis, and these are all individual pinnae. Now pay attention. Now what exactly happen here is, the rachis is unbranched. As long as the rachis remain unbranched, you will call it as a unipinnate type of compound leaf. So these are called pinnae. And then how do you distinguish a leaf? Because many of you might be confused why we don't how do you know whether this is a leaf or this whole thing is a leaf? So very easy. Every leaf is attached with the help of a petiole, and then there will be a stem, or you can say a node, and then it should be a gap in between is called internode, and then there is a angle, axillary angle, and then there will be a axillary bud. But when you look at this leaf, you won't find any angle, or you won't find any internode or node, or you will not find any bud present here. That means that this is not a leaf. This whole thing is a leaf. And second point, we already have covered one more point, that every leaf at its base will have two stipules present here. Now when you see this leaflet, you won't find any two stipules present here. So that means these are not leaves, these are leaflets. So this is how you distinguish a leaf from the leaflet, because when you see the diversity of leaves around you, sometimes you will be confused. Now let me show you another example. This is rose leaf. Now many of you will think that this is the leaf of the rose, but the reality is this whole is one leaf of the rose. Same thing, I think you are able to make out. Now you can see there is one rachis only, but let me give you another example. In this leaf, there was one more leaf, just a second. Yes. In this leaf, you can easily see this is the branched axis and then smaller leaflets are attached, and this is the branched axis on which smaller leaflets are attached. Now in this case, in these two cases the rachis is unbranched, but in these two cases the rachis is also branched. So if the rachis is branched, it will be either a bipinnate or tripinnate or decompound. Let me give you the understanding, it's very easy. When the pinna are attached to an undivided rachis, it is called as unipinnate. Then another category is possible. Unipinnate can be of two types, peripinnate and imperipinnate. Now when you count the number of leaflets, you will find this is an odd one. All are even. This is the odd one. In this case also odd one. So whenever an odd leaflet, generally bigger in size, is present in a compound pinnate leaf, you will call it as imperipinnate leaf. But if you look at the example of, if you have seen the neem leaf, Azadi Rashta indica leaf, you will find that it does not carry an odd number of leaflets, so it is an example of peripinnate. So peripinnate and imperipinnate are two types of unipinnate